Well, hello everyone. Philosopher Stoner 666 here. Well, actually not 666. I'm still trying to figure out a new name and how to change my name on my YouTube channel, but still haven't come to a decision yet, so I don't want to do anything just yet. Still thinking. Any ideas or comments, feel free to post them below. So what did I want to talk about today? Yes, one of my favorite TV shows, The Walking Dead. There will be a new season coming out this October. I think it's already started. I haven't seen any of the new episodes for season 10. I was rewatching some episodes from season 9 that have come on Netflix. They always have like a year delay with it being on Netflix. It'll be a pain in the ass trying to watch it for free online, but I'll manage it somehow. So yes, I wanted to talk about, I've done a video about the Joker and whatever, and he's not really my favorite kind of villain anymore. I prefer a villain like Negan, that's in The Walking Dead. So basically, he's a charismatic psychopath, a brutal murderer, but he's an alpha male, and he's very funny and charismatic, and he has his own sort of personal code of honor. So in the series, we see him murder two members of the protagonist group, Glenn and Abraham, and in the comics, I forget who he kills. But anyways, yeah, so he murders them, and he is clearly a bad guy. That much is obvious. I wouldn't say The Walking Dead argues for moral shades of gray. It's morals of good and evil. So this group, of zombie apocalypse survivors, have encountered a lot of other groups. And sort of two of the groups they encountered were cannibalistic, like survival cannibalism, that sort of thing. And the show, it really dawned on me that it's a very Judeo-Christian show, the same sort of morality. So it's like sort of, how can we build upon morality? What crime is bad enough that there can be no forgiveness, no redemption coming from? And the answer to that is obviously the cannibal kind of crimes. Once you go that far, there's no saving you. So The Walking Dead deals with this whole theme of redemption, and I don't think it's obvious to most people. So you have this character Negan, right? He's done all this bad stuff. He loses his way. He loses the war, and they decide to spare his life. And they do a whole thing with like the Oedipus complex. Carl, the son of Rick Grimes, the main character, the protagonist, gets his eye in another season, a past season, has his eye missing, and that's a direct reference to the Oedipus complex. Anyway, so they decide to spare Negan after having a war with him, and they show his character slowly being redeemed, right? He saves Judith, the little girl, from going out into the snow. In season 10, I think we're going to see what they cover in the comics, where he joins the Whisperers. They're this group of zombie apocalypse survivors that have adopted wearing the dead skins, Ed Gein style, of the dead people to sort of blend in like camouflage. Now, what's interesting is that it's obviously a horrific crime. They're obviously mentally deranged and, yes, evil. But to be honest, all the survivors in this zombie apocalypse context have done that trick in order to survive. They've all done it. They've all used the dead people and put the slime and the skin and whatever on them to sort of blend in and not be attacked as a survival mechanism. Although these Whisperers have sort of, in an odd way, they've embraced it. And they have like a pack animal kind of structure, alpha, beta, gamma male. They follow a very rigid pack structure. So, but they're not cannibals. They're evil, and like I said, they've embraced it, but they're not cannibals. So it's sort of building from this point, what's the lowest crime you can do and when is redemption not possible? And the show explores this whole theme of redemption. So Negan goes on to join the Whisperers, this group, and he notices they're trying to rape a woman, and then he intervenes and tries to stop it, even though when he was a ruler of his own group, he used his status and power to have multiple wives and sleep with multiple women. Although he claimed he was never raping them, he is solidly against rape. We see that in the show. The one girl, Sarah, that he has sort of captured as his prisoner. He saves her from being raped from one of his own minions. So he has this code of honor and lives by his own sort of rules, and he's a badass. And so what I like that whole redemption theme. I feel that we've sort of lost sight of that whole Judeo-Christian concept of redemption. I think it's a valid concept. I think it works. It makes for an interesting character, and they have scenes in The Walking Dead where Negan's in jail, and it reminded me very much of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. That's another story where it deals with a guy who's a murderer, and he's in prison for 40 years, and slowly over time he is redeemed. And I think redemption is a valid concept. And with these other villains that are more popular, like the Joker, etc., we've lost sight of that concept of redemption. It is the only good thing of the Christian religion that we can sort of salvage that I think as a concept has some validity, as a religious concept. And like I said, I identify as an atheist, agnostic, whatever you want to call it. Yes, I'm a nihilist, antinatalist, but I think there's antinatalism in Christianity. There are Bible quotes like in Genesis, talking about how Eve was forced to give birth to children as a punishment from God, talking about thou shalt bring forth children with sorrow. Then you have the whole book of Job, or Job. That's a guy that wishes that he had never been born. Then you have the existential angst of the book of Ecclesiastics and everything. There are definitely antinatalist threads in Christianity. I hate how the show, though, sort of shows these survivors that once they've established themselves in surviving, they all go on to procreate. So no matter the horror, people will procreate, it seems. And we're sort of stuck in it. We're aware of our own mortality. We use this whole zombie thing to sort of get over our death anxiety. It's called sublimation. And yet, it's like we're trapped in it. When you think about sex and relationships, none of it really goes anywhere. The only direction it goes in is having kids. And I sort of think that the Christians were aware of this. They were aware that sex and romance and all this stuff really just causes problems. Jealousy, hurt feelings, fighting, problems. It can be a source of a lot of love and joy, but it can also cause a lot of problems. So I think that's sort of why they said no sex outside of marriage and no sex outside of procreation, because they were aware it doesn't go anywhere. It just doesn't go anywhere. How else can you write Romeo and Juliet, right? And I think the Christians were onto something when they talk about almost like a fall of grace from God, right? That we're living in this imperfect world. This world, the material world, is ruled by Satan. And again, we could say Satan's a fiction, but they were definitely onto, yes, that the material world, this world that we inhabit, is corrupt. It's blighted. It's plagued by all sorts of evil and horror and problems. And what can we salvage from it? And the answer to that is we can salvage the whole concept of redemption. You can have someone, it's not beyond good and evil necessarily. It's not moral shades of gray. It is taking a bad person and seeing that they can be made into a good person, or that there is at least some shred of good in even the worst people, that we're not all monsters. And then, like I said, they draw the line at cannibalism. So once you've done cannibalism, yes, there's no saving you. We sort of have to just smite those kind of people, and that's where we draw the line in the sand. But other than that, the possibility of redemption does exist. And like I said, that's why I'm interested in his character more. It makes the experience all the more dynamic. It keeps you on your toes, keeps you guessing. And I think it's a valuable concept that we can salvage. Myself, I've done a lot of bad things in my life. I regret a lot of the things I've done. I don't want to really go into too many details, but I feel that I have redeemed myself by embracing a kind of Christian antinatalism, and that they were onto in the Christian religion, but more pronounced in Buddhism, that if you could reject the material world, if you could go celibate and pursue a more spiritual, godly path, that you would be doing the right thing. If you became an ascetic and denied the world, you'd be doing the right thing. They just recognized that the Christians, I mean, that it wasn't possible for everyone. It's almost a superhuman feat to deny your programming, to get over it, to get over wanting to have sex and do the whole thing. And they recognize it would only be a few very spiritual people that could do it. Now, luckily, we live in an age of birth control and all this sort of stuff that people can still have their cake and eat it too, so to speak. And that has changed the whole equation. And that's why, like I said, now is the perfect opportunity for a reevaluation of values to sort of reject procreation. But you can see the human predicament, the dilemma is that it's what we're built to do. We're built to fuck, have babies, then they grow up and then they do the same thing. And that's the only place it goes. All the rest of it is just window dressing. It doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't mean anything. In terms of the sense of your own ego, you listen to me, ego. Ego, listen to me, I can't even fucking speak. Ego. Yes, your ego. In terms of your ego, it just doesn't go anywhere. All you're striving after power and money and fame, and it is, in the words of Ecclesiastics, all is vanity and chasing the wind. And I think that's very true. That's what it is. And so there is the possibility of redemption, and there is the possibility that we can do better. We can try to do better. And so that show got me thinking about those sort of things, and I just sort of wanted to put that out there. I'm looking forward to the next season coming out this October, and maybe I'll do an analysis after I watch a few episodes, or when the season's over, I might talk about it again. But yeah, like I said, I'm not a fan anymore of these villains like the Joker or whatever, and all these other characters out there. I like the whole redemption theme, and I like the character Negan because of that. Anyways, that's enough of a video for now. Philosopher Stoner 666 out. Well, actually, not 666, and I'm still thinking of a new name, but anyways, you get the point. Yeah, fuck off now. Bye.